Okay, y'all saw the title of the video, not gonna waste any time. I'm gonna talk about the top 5 best and worst movies of 2023. The only rules I made for myself were that the movie had to be released in 2023, so straight to streaming and straight to TV movies are counted. If there's a movie you feel should have made either list, comment below. Maybe I haven't seen it yet. Since I'd like to end on a positive note, let's begin with the top 5 worst movies of 2023. Number 5. Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire. If you follow me on social media, you probably know I'm not the biggest Zack Ryder fan. No. What the fuck? Not Zack Ryder fan. No, I'm a Zack Ryder fan. He's not even Zack Ryder anymore. He's Matt Cardona. What the f... You probably know I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan, but hey, I'm willing to give almost anyone a 500th shot, so when I heard he was making a not Star Wars movie for Netflix, I immediately decided to check it out.
I've made a huge mistake.
The problem with this movie is that it felt like a Star Wars movie without any of the actual charm that makes people like Star Wars movies. It felt like bootleg Star Wars, off-brand Star Wars, Payless shoe source Star Wars, vegan Star Wars. You had the farm boy protagonist, the charming rogue, the British robot, the skilled fighter hiding on a random backwater planet. Nigga, they even got lightsabers. You know how George Lucas based the Empire off of Nazis? Well, now the Empire literally dresses like Nazis. So much so that the scene that introduced the main bad guy is damn near beat for beat the opening scene from Inglourious Bastards. It doesn't help that the dialogue isn't the greatest either.
Farmer, why would you contact us from this unknown and flagless vessel?
I was assuming we had a level of trust after our last meeting.
We bought your grain to feed our fighters.
Do not confuse your business of commerce with our business of revolution.
Why do you talk like that? Why do I talk like what?
I guess Netflix heard about Snyder's rejected plans for a Star Wars movie and told him to bring it to them, but the problem is the movie apes way too much from Star Wars to even have an identity of its own. The only positive thing I can really say about it is that the cinematography and set design is really dope. The grays and browns Snyder often uses to color his movies, which I usually hate, actually works here and makes it feel like I'm in an alien galaxy. Shame about everything else though. Number 4. Expendables. Oh hey, I didn't even do that on purpose. The 4-4, that's pretty funny. Nigga, I still want my money back. You can tell they're starting to run out of action movie actors putting these things when they put Megan Fox in here. And apparently 50 Cent can only act in Power TV shows because this nigga's just spending the whole movie mumbling his lines. I can't even understand what he's saying half the time.
What? Well, guys, remember this face. Don't shoot it by accident.
Say again?
Remember this face. Don't shoot it by accident.
What'd you say?
Remember this face. Don't shoot it by accident.
What'd you say?
Expendables is the 4th entry in this still going for some reason franchise, and Bubba, it's the worst one. Look, I don't mind some dumb brain-free action. I mean, I'm part of the Fast family. But this is just too much, man. I got some limits. To sum up the movie, Sylvester V. Stallone gets killed, okay, on a mission gone wrong, so the rest of the team has to stop this bad guy named Ocelot from starting World War III with a bunch of nuclear warheads. You know what the biggest problem with these Expendables movies are? These are supposed to be the good guys, right? Like, say what you will about the Fast and Furious movies. I actually wouldn't mind sitting at the dinner table with the family at the end of the movie. When I watch the Expendables, especially this one, man, I don't want to be anywhere around these niggas. In the very first scene, Sylvester Stallone rightfully loses his favorite ring to a biker dude fair and square in a thumb wrestling contest. So what does he do? He calls his homie the beekeeper to come and help him beat up the dude and steal his ring back. But the best part is, he doesn't even really contribute to jumping the biker guy. He just sits back and lets Jason Statham do all the work. What the fuck, man? If you don't come and get this whack-ass Dollar General-ass ring yourself, lame-ass nigga. The bad guy's plan isn't even good. The guy wants to start World War III to make profit from the warfare. You're working with nuclear warheads. What type of money are you expecting to make if nuclear warheads are being used? No one's gonna be around to pay you, stupid. Alright, I'm about to go deeper into this plot, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers for Expendables 4, skip to this timestamp. So you remember earlier when Stallone dies? Nah, he's fine. Now you might be thinking, wait, I saw the plane explode. His burning skeleton. This is a dead-ass character right here. Nah, he's good. How you ask? Well, you remember that biker dude from earlier? The guy that the movie makes a point to point out is a lot shorter than Stallone. Stallone kidnapped Buddy, snuck him onto the plane, parachuted out, basically got a dude whose only crime was beating him in a thumb wrestling contest killed. All to fake his death in order to set a trap. This nigga's the worst hero ever. Number 3. FNAF. I'm gonna get the stands mad with this one. I'll be real with y'all, I've never played a single Five Nights at Freddy's game in my entire life. I'm sorry, I have no interest in playing a game that's basically an extended game of spooky peekaboo. I only play games for real niggas. Like Disney Dreamlight Valley. So going into the movie, I didn't know much about the story outside of the basics. There's a night guard, his job is to protect this fake ass Chuck E. Cheese at night, he has to watch out for possessed animatronics that want to eat him or something. Video game streamer yells at a screen, okay cool. I see how this could be made into a movie. This is the lore y'all go up for? I've been on the internet for a minute. I've seen fans of this franchise talk about how great the lore is and get excited about stuff I know nothing about, like the Yellow Rabbit and the Bite of 76 or whatever. Man, I'm sitting in the theater literally getting more annoyed the longer I'm in there. This movie was less scary than Night Swim. This is the safest horror movie I've ever seen. In fact, I went to this movie with my younger brother. He did not even realize it was supposed to be a horror movie until I told him. And he's Gen Z. He's pretty much the target audience. I don't think that's a good sign. Josh Hutcherson plays... Give me a second. Mike Schmidt. Might as well name this nigga White Man. Anyway, he plays Mike, who's in a race with Sylvester Stallone for the most unlikable main character of 2023. When he was a kid, his little brother was kidnapped and killed by a serial killer. So he spends his time in between working crappy jobs doing some lucid dreaming to remember details about that day so he can figure out who killed him. And at the same time, he's the guard at the spooky animatronic animal pizza place. See how there's kind of a tonal shift between these two stories happening in this movie? On one side, you have this almost thriller-like plot going on, and on the other, you have haunted animatronics. We never even really learned why or how these cracked-out Muppets even got possessed. The saving graces of this movie were how good the actual animatronics looked. I mean, they do look exactly like the video game characters. And Matthew Shaggy Lillard knowing exactly what kind of movie he was in. Everything else was big mid. I don't understand why y'all love this. The little kid in the movie isn't even scared of these things. She's running around playing Ring Around the Rosie with them and shit. This isn't even Goosebumps level. This is like the Nightmare Room type shit. Well, at least I'll never have to watch another Five Nights at Freddy's movie ever again.
No! God! My God Almighty! I God!
Number 2. Sloppy Seconds. Yeah, number 2 is appropriate because this movie was some shit. Now, some of you may feel like including Tubi movies on my list is cheating. Well, to some of you, I say...
That's fine. That's your opinion. It's wrong, though.
You didn't watch what I watched, okay? You haven't seen the things I've seen, alright? It came out in 2023. It's a movie. I saw it. It's going on the list, bro. You want to fight me about it? Well, hear me out. Because this is truly one of the worst things I have ever seen in my entire life. Never mind the bad lighting, the bad cinematography, Oreily Auto Parts, the bad editing. The story is insane. The story is fucking insane.
Oh no, Keisha, you won't be my personal assistant. You'll be my wife and I's personal whore.
What? This movie is about a sheltered rich girl named Keisha who meets a fresh and fit podcast fan named Rico, and her life goes to shit almost immediately.
I said you thick as What's your name?
You talking to me?
Is you deaf? Is you dumb?
For the next few months, this nigga basically completely ruins her life. He's abusive, he insults her, he calls her dad old.
Nah, Keisha. Let your old ass daddy keep talking to me crazy like I'm a little kid or something. Watch what's gonna happen.
Where the hell did you find this piece of trash at?
This dude is doing a speed run of the worst things a boyfriend could possibly do. But it makes no sense. At the very beginning of the movie, they kind of hint that Erykah wants to date her to scam her family out of their money, but then he just spends the rest of the movie being a shitty boyfriend for basically no real reason outside of he just wants to.
That's him right there, no? That's why I pay my security the big bucks.
You fat bitch. This all your fault.
And if I started talking about all the shit going on with her family, man, this video would be like 15 minutes longer. Just trust me, I've barely scraped the surface of everything wrong with this movie.
What the is going on?
Oh my God, so baby, what are you doing home so early?
You my best friend?
But not gonna lie, I had a blast watching it.
So what, you her bodyguard? How long you been licking her pussy?
What?
Okay, before I get to my number one worst movie of 2023, some dishonorable mentions. The Mail Lady. Another Tubi movie. This one's about a dude who gets seduced into cheating with his wife with a mail lady who does ASMR on OnlyFans. Also, she's a Black Ops soldier. The movie isn't nearly as interesting as the plot would make you believe. Strays. I promise you the only thing that saved this from going on the list was Jamie Foxx. You people.
Wow, are you trying to say that my dad's an angry black man?
I never said he was angry, no.
Yeah, but you're saying a black man is intense, which is insinuating that he is.
He is black and he's intense.
Yeah, but you don't say that as a white person about a black person, calling them aggressive or intense. That's being passive-aggressive, saying that he's an angry black man.
Should I say he's not intense?
You didn't say nothing about my dad. Because if anyone should have any type of beef, it's either mine.
Kenny Barrett's gotta be stopped, man. Number one. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. You know, it kind of hurts me to make this movie number one, especially after a movie like Sloppy Seconds. You, the viewer, may even be asking, really? Aquaman 2 was worse than Sloppy Seconds? Okay, hold on though, let me cook. See, when I'm rating how good a movie is, one question I always factor in is, did this movie make me feel anything? Because in my opinion, the worst thing a movie can do is make you feel nothing and leave no impression on you whatsoever. Sloppy Seconds is a bad movie, but I'll never forget watching it.
So what, you her bodyguard? How long you been licking her pussy?
What?
Watch it with some friends, you can even actually have fun with how bad it is. Aquaman 2 had probably 10 times the budget Sloppy Seconds did, and it was in theaters, and I still felt nothing watching it. It's weird because I really liked the first Aquaman movie, even more than I was expecting to. But when I watched this, I didn't care about a single thing that was happening. I didn't care about the beef Arthur had with his brother. I didn't care about Black Manta wanting revenge on Arthur for offing his dad. I didn't care about Baby Aqua peeing in Arthur's face. Nothing. None of the comedy really worked for me, none of the action blew me away, it's weird. Maybe it was because I knew going in that ultimately nothing in this movie really mattered because there's a complete reboot of this franchise on the way. This movie felt like a very expensive case of senioritis. Well, at least Jason Momoa was the best part of Fast X.
Oh, stop! Look at your strength. You butthole.
Alright, now that we got that out the way, it's time for the top 5 best movies of 2023. Number 5, American Fiction. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it now. Oppenheimer came very close to making my top 5 list. Then I saw this movie, and I'm sorry, I had to change it. This really is one of the most smartly written films I've seen in a minute. The film is about a black writer named Monk who's frustrated because none of his books are hidden until he comes across another writer played by Issa Rae, whose book is a bit more mainstream.
Girl, you be pregnant again? If I is, Ray Ray is gonna be a real father this time around. Thank you.
So he decides to make the most ghetto-ass, to-be movie-ass book he could possibly write, and is dismayed to find out it almost immediately becomes a success. The movie has a lot to say about black people in media, how we're represented as a people in media, even media that we make ourselves, what blackness is, who gets to decide how blackness is represented, should we consider how white people consume black content, and how are we represented in the content they consume. There's a lot of stuff to chew on with this movie, and I love films that give you that. I'm honestly considering doing a separate video on this movie alone. Funny enough, this movie actually made me think of Spike Lee's Bamboozled.
Variety show, like in living color. Right. That was dope. Man Tan. The new millennium minstrel show.
We're gonna need a little more money for this.
This could be bigger than Friends, Ally McBeal, even my boys Amos and Andy. Damn.
So if you liked that movie, and you should definitely watch it by the way, if you haven't, it might be his best work, you will definitely like this one. Sorry, Ati. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You know, I almost made this number 3 just so that the numbers would match. So remember what I said earlier about movies that make you feel something? This movie had your boy crying over CG woodland critters. A lot of times when you're 3 movies deep into a franchise, and in this case a franchise that's part of an even larger, more sprawling franchise, it can be easy to put spectacle over story and kind of forget to remind your audience why they fell in love with your characters to begin with. Guardians 3 thankfully did not fall into that trap. I knew once the news came out that they were going to cover Rocket's origin story that people were going to be in their feelings. But damn bruh, I did not expect to be crying like DMX in the theater.
Back in the cage, P13.
This movie might have the best opening credits in all of the MCU, and it's just Rocket Raccoon moping around nowhere while Creep by Radiohead plays. The action and music in the movie being top notch is like the frosting on the good ass cake that is this movie. And for fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, it really came together as a worthy conclusion and send off for the Guardians as we know them. Boy, James Gunn's Superman movie is about to be some heat. Number 3, The Iron Claw. Damn, I got 2 depressing ass movies in a row. The Iron Claw is a biopic about a legendary family of wrestlers from Texas known as the Von Erichs. It's kind of hard to talk about this movie without spoiling anything, but basically tragedy after tragedy befalls this family, and the movie covers how they deal with all the hardships they come across. The interesting thing about this movie, though, is that it isn't just a biopic. It also touches on themes of toxic masculinity, what it means to be a father, what it means to be a brother, how obsession can ruin not just yourself, but the people around you. I mean, the father, Fritz Von Erich, is basically Captain Ahab chasing the Moby Dick that is the World Heavyweight Championship. Everyone said it, and I'll say it too, Zac Efron is amazing in this movie. He's so good, it's easy to forget that this dude started out singing and dancing on Disney Channel. He plays Kerry Von Erich, who's this big dude, but is also kind of more introverted and quiet, so Efron has to do a lot of his acting with just his face and body language, and he killed that shit. And not for nothing, Holt McCallany was so amazing as Fritz Von Erich that now I gotta put him in the S-tier actor category. I feel like the best actors are the ones where when you see them in a movie playing a role, it doesn't even feel like you're watching a movie. It just feels like they're being them. And that describes McCallany in this movie to a T. I feel like this was an amazing movie. Number 2, they cloned Tyrone. I will never not be hot that they didn't put this movie in theaters. So I don't know if you've caught this yet, but a running theme in my best list this year has been movies that really leave you thinking about the ideas it presents and giving you something to come away with after the movie ends. Well, if any movie does that, it's a movie that involves conspiracy theories, cloning, poverty, drug dealing, rap, religion, race relations, racism against your own people, all scored to a fire-ass soundtrack. I'm really glad to see Star Wars isn't the beginning and end of John Boyega's mainstream film career, because they really did my boy Finn dirty. I need more people to see this movie, because it really shows how talented this dude is as an actor. If I say too much, it may be a spoiler, but just know it's another case of an actor being allowed to show the range they have in just one movie. Jamie Foxx and Tiana Paris are also 2 of the best supporting actors you could ask for. While watching the movie, I couldn't help but think I just want to hang out with these 3 main characters for hours. I feel like we'd just be laughing the whole time. This movie was the most interesting mix of sci-fi, hood movies, and comedy I've seen in a minute. If you haven't seen this movie yet, just pause this video and watch it now, come back later, and then finish this. Deadass. Now for some honorable mentions. Oppenheimer. Nolan, you're my boy, and you came very close to making the list, but I had to put you in the mentions. Still an amazing movie though. Outlaw Johnny Black, from the same team behind Black Dynamite, but a very different movie from Black Dynamite. Outlaw Johnny Black was kind of a sneak entry. Didn't get a lot of promo and had a very small and short release, but I was very lucky to see it. Honestly, we need more black westerns. Megan. Megan was the first movie I saw in 2023, and it was the definition of starting off on a good foot. Your boy is a little bit of a horror connoisseur, and he gave me exactly what I was hoping for. It was goofy, it was campy, it's a kid-sized robot chopping motherfuckers up. What more could you want? Godzilla -1. This was actually only my second ever kaiju movie. First one was Godzilla vs. Kong, but this one, bruh. Coming from someone who doesn't really watch these, watch this. You'll thank me later. Number 1. I'm just playing. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. If you can end your movie on a cliffhanger, and the audience audibly expresses how mad they are that they gotta wait to see the conclusion, you got the people hooked. I couldn't stop thinking about this movie for the entire rest of the year after I saw it. The album stayed on repeat. The amount of Spider-Man content they put into this film without feeling too packed or busy is incredible. This was the movie that lifelong Spider-Man fans were waiting for. Honestly, it might even be better than No Way Home. Do I even have to talk about the animation? The style of these movies is so iconic at this point, other animated movies are trying to bite off its style. None can beat the OGs of this shit though. For the entire last 15 minutes of the movie, the audience I saw the movie with was locked in. Everyone was holding their breath. When the reveal happened, people lost it. That's when you know you got a good ass movie. The moment part 2 drops, I'm going Thursday night. Fuck Friday movies, nigga. This is a Thursday night movie. Well, that's my top 5 best and worst movies of 2023. If you disagree, you're wrong. But still leave a comment below on why you think I'm wrong. What should have made the list? What should be taken off the list? I really want to see what y'all think. Until next time, peace.